get your head right. Right on, right on. What's up, head right homies? Welcome to Zo Loft, your head right hangout. Hey, let's do this thing, y'all. Let me go ahead and get my doses for y'all and see what we're gonna talk about today. I wanted to start off with something a little bit more, fun. I guess maybe for me. So Rush has a new drummer. They're going back on tour, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to get that Geddy Lee voice, but that's now Rush. Of course, I got a lot of respect, for the musicianship of Rush. Now I'm not gonna, I can't say that like Rush is like one of my favorite bands. I wasn't
Right.
I'm not a big Rush fan. Sometimes a band can have like a song that I really like, but maybe like in terms of like their whole body of music or whichever, it may not like be my favorite. But it's like I like that song. Like Tom Sawyer, I really like that song, and so I mean enough to even do a cover of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like your version. I don't really care for the original.
Well, thank you. It's a classic. It's like it's already good material to work with, so it even helped to make me sound decent. But yeah, I like that song. So at any rate, we'll talk a little bit about Rush going back. They're heading back on tour, and then we have I think the next one was what is it? Netflix value of Netflix plummets 15 billion. That's with a B, as in bisexual. Amid boycott calls over shows sexualizing children. Bad Bunny, or B, as in Bad Bunny. Let's see. I threw up my version of Tranarchy on Facebook. I guess nobody liked it. Hardly anybody liked it. Anyway.
Facebook probably hit it.
Probably. I know they don't like it.
Yeah.
And they don't want anybody else to like it either. Well, give people a chance to not like it. Let them see it for themselves and decide if they don't like it. But yeah, in light of Bad Bunny, I kind of like dug through my archives and grabbed up my cover of Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols, but I made a parody of it, Tranarchy, and put that up on Facebook. See if anybody listens to it.
It's quite good.
Thank you. So Bad Bunny, learn Spanish. Why would you tell it? I mean, if the whole LGBTQ thing is so important to you, why aren't you telling people to learn pronoun language? Learn how to speak in the satanic tongues that people, the thers, zers, whatever. Bad Bunny, learn Spanish if you want to understand my Super Bowl performance. I don't think the language itself is the thing that's that people, would be understanding. And well, people understand it more than you think. It's like, you're a pervert.
Yeah.
Understand perfectly. You're a pervert in any language, dude. How about that?
Yep.
So FDA approves another abortion pill. Oh, another one, huh? Okay. Jane Goodall was a. This is an article saying on this was a nasty old woman. Mm-hmm.
It's a fact.
Hey, okay. I ain't gonna argue with it. Pope defends award for a pro-abortion senator, says those who favor inhumane treatment of immigrants or the death penalty are not pro-life either. And the Pope is a nasty old man. All right. And then Virginia AG candidate Jay Jones, text shows him fantasizing about killing Republicans, wishing death on their kids. All right. Democrats going
lovely.
Democrat. Let's see. Okay, so now let us start off with some, Rush news.
Something fun.
Yeah, that's more fun for me. So now, last I heard, when people were, they wanted Rush to get back out there. And I think Geddy Lee, of course, probably wanted to get back out there. I think according to Eric Lifeson, from what I understand, he was really reluctant to, continue touring because he feels like, man, we would be a tribute band. I don't want to be a tribute band. Not saying that, I don't think his attitude is that, we don't want to get out there and honor Neil Peart. But if Peart's not playing with us, then, It's just I just feel like we would we wouldn't be Rush. We'd be a tribute band. And so I guess I can understand that. But they've just I guess I don't know how long. I really don't know much about the drummer that they picked. Maybe that's part of, I mean, Rush is, of the upper echelon of progressive rock music. And maybe they wanted to do something really progressive in picking a drummer that people would not have expected. Maybe if you're a big fan of Rush and you stay tuned in with them, maybe people already knew who they were vetting for the spot. Her name is Anika. It's either Anika or Annika, and she's German.
Huh.
She's really good.
Really?
And I've never heard of her though. And now I'm not saying this I don't mean this negatively. I don't mean this to be condescending or anything like that. She's good, but I don't hear much difference in her playing than a lot of good drummers. I'm not catching like what's really different. I think she's a multi-instrumentalist. And y'all, her just being a good drummer, which, she is, that's not enough. Probably what Rush is looking for is like, look, in terms of her approach to writing music or composing, maybe fits with what they're doing. An ingredient that she has fits. Can't just be about the drumming. It's about, how her drumming contributes to the orchestration of their music. Her attitude, her disposition, her demeanor, and I'm not just talking about her attitude in terms of, and disposition in terms of like, her personality, but as an artist, how this comes out in her music. So there's probably a lot of those things that factor in to why she was chosen. Over, more known drummers, or even lesser known drummers, or whichever. There's to make this recipe, the recipe of Rush. To keep it going, to maintain the essence of Neil Peart. I don't think now her drumming to me doesn't sound anything like Neil Peart.
Why did they pick her? Do you think?
Well, like some of the things that I had just suggested. In terms of, I'm speculating. I don't really know why they picked her according to what they've said. Well, I did read a little bit of it. I really didn't get much out of it. Like when they explained, who they would be bringing in. But yeah, with them picking her, I don't know who she is. And what motivated them to pick her. But they know what they need, and what they want more than I do. Of course, as much as I feel like they should have consulted me. But I don't know, and I don't know if she's gonna be there for the sake of carrying on. Of course they're going to do, the classics. Yeah. But in terms of writing new material, I don't know. Are they? Is she going to be like the part of the? Is she like a member of Rush now?
Weird. That
is going to be contributing to songs going forward, or is this going to be like they're just they're giving a sign off? This maybe their last tour. I don't know, and they just want to have somebody to come in and finish it off. Like I said, her playing. Now, of course, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure that maybe Neil Peart was in her, her staple of influences. Somebody that or really inspired her. But in the samples that I've heard of her playing is it's pretty different. But maybe that's, what Rush was going for. It's like, okay, we want to bring in we don't really want, another somebody who can try to emulate Neil Peart. We want somebody with their own voice, but who could still be a compliment to what Neil Peart contributed to the songs that their fans love so much, right? All that to say, so now when I heard that Rush was going back on tour, I already started thinking like who would be a great fit for our drummers, and I was like, oh well, I guess they already picked somebody. But if it's cool, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to disclose like a couple of people that I thought that they might have, vetted. Maybe they did vet them, but they didn't get. I don't know. So some of the drummers that I was thinking about would be Vinny Colaiuta. And Vinny Colaiuta is, man, that guy's, his speed, his, the conversation that he's able to have between, his hands with the sticks and the pedals. His note selection, is very, obviously it's percussive, but it's percussive in a way where it's like, it's very interesting. It's not cliche. You can have a lot of speed. Like you can have a person who's got like speed, but the speed starts to become like cliche about what you'll do, on the toms and things like that. But when you're able to cut up those rudiments, like between your hand and your feet, and then not only that, but the note selection of between your upper toms and lower and the snare, and then your auxiliaries, your cymbals and things like that. You can have a person who's got great chops, great rudiments, and things like that. But there's certain note selections that will resonate, with somebody that's like, just because a person may have the speed, and whichever, that's great. But what kind of notes do you pick? I'll give you an example. Like say, for instance, Kirk Hammett. Right, I think Kirk Hammett is, a very he's a very capable guitar player. I'll put it like that. He's very capable. Got great dexterity and whatnot. I don't particularly. His note selection though is not my favorite. All right, he's like, yeah, man. I think he plays pretty clean. I think he's, can play pretty fast. But like some of the resolve of some of his phrasings, like, I don't know, man. It's like you're trying to be bluesy, but, and forgive me if I'm using this wrong, because I'm not really a guitar. I play guitar, but I'm not really an educated guitar player. But it's like his pentatonic is too much of a major pentatonic. It's almost like, I don't want to use the word happy. Like the resolves they're just, they're weird, and not weird like in a palatable way to me. I think the last time I heard like Hammett do like solos that were like more befitting of what the song is doing, I think Master of Puppets was like kind of like the last album. And Justice for All. Sorry, and Justice for All was like the last album where it was like, okay, he was doing solos that really made more sense. Their resolves in the phrases made more sense. Master of Puppets, I think, was probably his best work with his solos. But after that, in trying to be like bluesy or whichever, it was like he depended on the wah-wah pedal too much to make it sound like, to give it some, to make it sound a little more dirty or whichever. But yeah, it's like too much like of a major laden pentatonic scale that he's trying to do, or that he does. I mean, the thing about Kirk Hammett, when he plays, it's Kirk Hammett.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or whether you don't. And I think, like I said, I think he's a very capable guitar player. Just because I don't like some of his phrasing and his resolves and things like that doesn't mean that he's not, he's good. I mean, heck, he's a guitar player for probably one of most powerful bands in the world. They're a formula. They're a package. Independently, they, like say for instance, or like Lars. Lars can play fast, but his playing isn't really that interesting. Now that for Lars, I could just go ahead and flat out say it's like Lars is kind of like in a place where it's like, dude, I don't have to do anything else but Metallica.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do anything else. I don't really need to grow as a drummer. This is what I do. I do Metallica. His drumming is very one-dimensional. His drumming's not very colorful.
I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, Lars is part of a formula.
Yeah.
When them together, probably the strongest player of Metallica right now, and I don't mean like, as in like he's the strongest player and, that's it. He's like the strongest player by far, would be, Robert Trujillo. He's very versatile, and is a beast on the bass. Jason Newsted, he got done dirty, and people miss him, because he brought a lot of energy.
What happened to him?
He walked out. I guess as far as I know, man, they didn't treat him right. Really? Yeah, it was like nothing he could do was like right, even though it was almost like they were just taking issues out on him. Or whichever. Help me out, y'all, if I'm kind of getting that wrong. But in terms of what he contributed to bring them to this global phenomenon, Jason Newsted, was a serious part of that. Like one of the dumb things that happened was like in Justice for All.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really hear the bass in Injustice for All, and Lars is the one who insisted on that. Lars wanted to know, I want you to make room for my kick drum. That's it. Make room for the kick. And I don't want the bass tracks, interfering with that. And so the bass like got cut way down.
Yeah, I didn't really care for any of the music on that album.
And I mean, I really liked that album, but it didn't have the weight.
Nope, it sure didn't.
Because that bass was missing, right?
I never knew that was why, but now that you say that and I picture the album, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it has some good songs on there. I don't think it definitely wasn't as good as Master of Puppets. That's for sure. Master of Puppets, that's the standard. I don't think Metallica.
It is the standard.
Yeah, Metallica has yet to outdo themselves with Master of Puppets. They did Master of Puppets, and of course, Cliff Burton had passed away. We going all over the place. We went from Rush to we're here in Metallica, right? I told you because this is a more fun subject for. I just go all over the place. I hope you guys don't mind, right? We'll get to that other stuff, but Lars, he makes weird decisions. It's like in trying to grow as an artist or whichever, but it's like, dude, you got to know when you're kind of compromising the integrity of the overall thing in trying to, prove yourself as an artist. I think like with the Saint Anger album, dude, what's up with that snare tone? No, you took a whole bunch of meat out of that album. Could have been a lot more meaty if you didn't mess around with that snare tone the way that you did. So, but like I said, Lars, he kind of he lacks that groove. Let the groove, like they'll play songs and he'll rush through like the accents and things like this. Like let those punches come through when you're playing them. And I have a feeling that Robert Trujillo probably had a talk with him. It's like, look, S.A., you just reel it in, man. Just groove with me for a second. Because, some of the songs that they used to do back in the day, it's like, they just pound through them. And I guess James Hetfield didn't mind because he was all just freaking testosterone and adrenaline, and just would pound through that stuff. But, now it's just like, I think, Trujillo is just like, dude, you gotta let the groove come out, man. There's like, especially when you're playing those Master of Puppets jams. You can't just plow through like the song Master of Puppets. Don't just plow through it, or like For Whom the Bell Tolls. If you're gonna go back that far, don't plow through it, man. Let that groove come through, man. And live, Lars doesn't let that. Sometimes I wonder, man, did somebody Did you have a fixer come in and play those tracks, Lars? Did Bernard Purdy have to come in? Bernard Purdy. I think Bernard Purdy is known as like the fifth Beatle. I think it's because the controversy is that it's like he was the fixer back in the day, and he was like, yeah, dude, I had to fix some of Ringo's tracks.
Wow.
And so, but I don't think anybody's, the Beatles or whoever's remaining are not going to admit to that. He's like, yeah, man, I got called in to fix tracks.
And they're not hurting.
Yeah, they're not hurting. And so other tracks, it was like, did they call Bernard Purdy to come in and fix some of Lars' tracks and some of these things? Because he don't groove like that live, man. He doesn't, he just plows through them. But anyway, all I'm saying is, with choosing what drummer to be with Rush, I was thinking Vinny Colaiuta, Omar Hakim. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Brent says Vinny is the man. Probably a little stuffy and highbrow for Rush after playing with Zappa, though. I feel you. Because Vinny is definitely he's definitely a journeyman, definitely a virtuoso. I mean, Vinny's played from Zappa. I think he's a heavy progressive jazz player. I think he's played with like the likes of Chick Corea. Wow, really?
So I mean, he's like from rock to fusion jazz. He was Megadeth's drummer for. He played what?
Boy, talk about all spectrums.
Yeah. He's a Latin jazz. he could do it all.
Wow.
Right. So yeah, to your point, he's highbrow. very, and not only can he do it all, he does it well.
Wow.
And he's one of the best drummers, in the game. And so I thought that he would definitely be a good fit. Because one thing, like say for instance, like Vinny Colaiuta, he's the kind of person where he can play to the song as good. He can play anything. And I think that he could play it where it's like you're really picking up on the classic. He can play to that classic. Like say for instance, like one of my favorite drummers is Dennis Chambers.
Oh yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend Dennis Chambers for Rush. And Dennis can do it all too, and do it well. But at the same time, going into Rush, I think you would hear too much of Dennis Chambers.
Oh yeah.
Too much of Dennis, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Right, because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think too much of Dennis would come out. But Vinny Colaiuta, it just has where even if Vinny Colaiuta comes out, it would play more to the classic, I think. Yeah.
So Anika Niles, Jay says we both looked her up. She literally started her career in 2010 as a YouTube musical influencer.
Okay.
I looked her up and it looks like that to me as well. Have you listened to her? What do you think?
Yeah, I've listened. Like I said, she's good.
Okay.
And
do you think they're picking her because you have to have women nowadays to be all DEI, or do you think she's actually talented and that's why they picked her? That's me asking.
No, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. It's not that I haven't thought of it myself. I have to consider we're talking Rush here.
Yeah.
Rush doesn't really have anything to prove.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Maybe in their generosity, they're just like, look, I appreciate what you're doing. Maybe they're just like, dude, we just dig what you do. We want to advance your career. Now, I mean, I think that might be a stretch to say, but heck, why not? It's not like they can't afford to not to or afford to, whichever. Like I say, they don't have anything to prove. They don't have anything to prove in being generous to somebody else's career or whichever. But yeah, is it the possibility of they're trying to maintain an air of being progressive?
Yeah, being relevant to the younger generation.
Exactly. You wouldn't have to, Rush, you wouldn't have to do that. But I could see why they would.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
Right.
It doesn't, I think it would have been more, for me, I'm sorry, if I may opine on this, I think it would have been more impactful had they chosen, I guess, one of their contemporaries
who has still stayed with the times, who's still a very relevant force in influencing drummers today. You know? So like I said, Vinnie Colaiuta, you can hear a lot, like drummers this generation of drummers, you can hear a lot of Vinnies, just like you can hear a lot of Dennis Chambers influence. These influences are like, they're powerfully in play in people's playing. Vinnie Colaiuta, same thing. His influence is powerful in a lot of people's playing in this generation. So I think that would have been a lot more impactful, personally. Who else would I think would have been good? Like I said, Omar Hakim. I don't think, now with Omar Hakim, I think a lot more inspiration is seen in people's playing today than influence as far as Omar Hakim goes. Like say, for instance, with my playing, I don't think Omar Hakim influenced a lot of my playing. But in terms of inspiring, yeah, definitely. Like, I don't think you would hear much of his influence in my playing. But yeah, I've definitely been inspired by Omar Hakim. And Omar Hakim, another journeyman who's very versatile, I think would have been a compliment to Rush. I think he would have captured the classic. I think we would have really played to the essence of what Rush is. Another drummer that comes to mind, this would be a generation, after Rush, but Herb Alexander, who used to be the drummer for Primus. I think he would have been a good fit. But Herb, unfortunately, I think he gave up drumming.
You said that.
Yeah, he quit Primus. He's like, look, I just don't have the passion for it anymore. I think, I'll bet though, I have a feeling that if Rush called Herb Alexander, because I think Primus used to tour with Rush. So they're not strangers to each other. I'm pretty sure that that Primus has opened up for Rush. I'll bet you if Rush would have called Herb Alexander and says, hey man, you want to, be the third, be the third part of Rush, I think Herb, he would have considered it. I think he probably would have came back into the game for that. And I think he would have been a good fit. If like, once again, if we're talking about maybe appealing to another generation or something like that, like I said, Primus is, basically a generation behind Rush. And you can hear a lot of Rush's influence in Primus's music anyway. I think probably two or three more. I think this one might probably surprise people that I would suggest this one. Stuart Copeland. I think Stuart Copeland, drummer for the Police, would have been a good fit. An interesting fit. How about that? At least that. Stuart Copeland. In terms of versatility.
Your camera's stuck. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Am I stuck? Am I frozen or? Whatever about your camera. What about me? Am I frozen or what?
Audio's fine for me, and it looks like the audio's fine for everybody, but the camera's stuck.
The camera's stuck. I don't get it.
But your audio's fine.
Audio's fine. Is my video stuck for everybody? Oh, I'm back on again. There we go.
Good.
Oh, nope. Now it's spinning wheel. Crap. So Stuart Copeland, I think he'd be a great fit
Brent told me to whack your camera.
Whack it, shake the robot. All right, so Stuart Copeland, and then two more that I think. Simon Phillips. Some folks might remember Simon Phillips. If you don't remember who he is, I can't. And the thing is, I can't. He was one of those session players. Session players, fusion. Heavy jazz fusion. Jazz rock. And great independence. Likes to have those big toms. Left-handed drummer, I think. I think he's a left-handed drummer, or it seems like he has his kit set to the right, but leads a lot with the left or something like that. But really good drummer, and like I said, really good with like independence, polyrhythms and things like that. So I think he'd be a really good complement. He would have been a really good complement to Rush's, more nuanced meters. Rush didn't. They like to do like some odd time signatures and stuff. I don't think they really got too far out there. But because of the odd time signatures or different accents, even within a 4/4 count, I think something that Simon Phillips would have been really good for. And then lastly, not least, but just lastly, Terry Bozzio. I think Terry. Speaking of
Who dat?
Terry Bozzio used to be the drummer for Zappa.
Oh.
Yeah. Frank Zappa and the Mothers. And he was also the drummer for Missing Persons. So he was Dale Bozzio's
That's right, you were telling me about
husband.
that.
Yeah. So Terry Bozzio, very very avant-garde drummer. And he even very quite versatile. I guess maybe some people find him kind of weird. But heck, I mean, he went from Zappa to he was drummer for Korn for a little while. I think it didn't work out with Korn because I think Terry Bozzio he wanted equal partnership. He wanted stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't think it's unreasonable. But I guess it really just depends on what you're contributing to the music and can you really contribute to, the brand that is Korn. And maybe just as far as Korn was like, look, man, you're a drumming icon, and we can afford to have you for our credibility, we can afford to have you playing, for us, on drums. But in terms of actually, making you a writing partner going forward, and you having that equal partnership with this, I guess Korn was just like, you're not the guy. So I guess they left on those terms. But at any rate, y'all, that's what are some drummers that you might have thought about, and do you think that my selection is too far out there, or kind of in the right vein, or whichever? Some of y'all are probably bigger. Some of y'all might be bigger Rush fans than I am. So.
Yeah, Jay says the big question is if Niles is going to get the Neil Peart pay for Neil Peart play.
Well, yeah. I haven't seen in terms of the reaction. Are people are receptive to it, or?
Yeah, I wonder how it will go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it could be one of those things that, hey, Rush, we're fans, man. We trust you guys. We trust you guys to know what's gonna work in terms of carrying on the classics, and possibly writing some new stuff. We'll see how it goes.
Mike Mangini from Dream Theater.
Mike Mangini, okay.
Brent is suggesting this.
Yeah, and also one of the reasons why I picked it, because I'm not sure if they're if they're available, if they're not already touring. So I don't know if he's still with Dream.
True.
So because if that was the case, if I was thinking about drummers who are already in projects, who may be touring or it may be in the studio writing a new album.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but Danny Carey from Tool.
Oh. Yeah.
I have a Tool is. Tool used to be one of my biggest fans, but Maynard, he really hates God. So it's like, and
good music.
and to pour that out in your music, it's like, look,
he
man,
hates God, right?
yeah, it's like he hates God. So
yeah, it makes it really hard to enjoy their music now.
Yeah, so it's like, man, you know what?
Can't
It ain't that important to me. So
Yeah.
I just go ahead and let Tool go. Yeah.
That's big for you too, for both of us. We really like Tool.
Yeah,
that's big for you.
Exactly. Yeah, we saw. We used to go see Tool. I think we saw Tool a couple times in concert, and but yeah, that's just like that. That's a deal breaker, man.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff.
When you're that hostile to the Lord.
Yeah.
Nah.
So. Yeah, but Danny Carey, as an honorable mention, I think would have been good. But that in terms of because I'm talking about kind of more like session players, people who are just come in and play on different albums and do projects and things like that. So anyway, or who might not be, who might be on hiatus.
Well,
with their band.
Mangini got the boot from Dream Theater about 2 years ago, Brent said.
Oh, okay. I haven't followed Dream Theater that closely. I am familiar with some of their music. I dig some of it. And but since we're talking Dream Theater, probably a pretty good fit. It actually, he would have to. I reckon he would have to tone it back a little, quite a bit. His approach to playing. Dream Theater is, of course, a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Than Rush's the genre that Rush is in. But he probably could reel it in pretty nice and handle it. Dream Theater is, Dream Theater is another band that, if you ask them who their influences are, I'm pretty sure Rush is going to come up.
Huh.
Dream Theater is a progressive metal band. Rush is more progressive rock. Dream Theater
I'm not
is
familiar with Dream Theater. I must look them up.
Yeah, we'll check them out. They've got some cool stuff. So let's see. Anyway, I better try to get to the news.
The boring politics.
Yeah, politics in there. All right. So value of Netflix plummets, $15 billion. Wow. Okay. Billion. Dude, we're talking billions of dollars here, man. What a world. What an economy where we could just go ahead and talking business is just talking in terms of billions. But here whatever about this. This is what I'm catching right here. It's just in the title alone. You guys catch this? Value of Netflix plummets $15 billion amid boycott calls over sexualizing children. Boycotting? Again?
Yeah.
How? Okay, so how does Netflix have $15 billion to fall from in the first place?
Right.
With these boycotts? You remember when they did that thing, Cuties? How is it that Netflix still has an audience after doing that? And a lot of their audience, their subscribers, a lot of them claim to be Christians, right? How does that statistic go?
Yeah.
If just the Christians, the people who claim to be Christians,
Yes.
were to cancel their Netflix,
Yep.
they would go bankrupt.
Yes.
All right, if just the people who claim to be Christians,
Right.
all right, forget everybody else. You would think there'd be a huge demographic of everybody else, but no, most of the Netflix business is Christians. So not enough Christians saw it offensive enough
Yeah.
when Cuties was out.
Right.
Oh, and then all of a sudden, the conservatives got all mad because Netflix was going to throw their weight behind Kamala. Oh, we're leaving. What the hell you mean you leaving? Why are you still there? You
Yeah.
mean when they did the Cuties thing, y'all didn't cancel your subscription then? Y'all stayed?
Yeah, pedophilia is not enough reason to cancel, but I guess Kamala Harris, that was the final nail in the coffin.
Right? At least that's what they said. Evidently, they're still there,
Yeah.
helping Netflix get upwards of over $15 billion worth.
Yep.
They still there. Oh, but now we're gonna boycott you and leave because you're sexualizing children. They've been doing that.
Yeah.
They $15 billion plus strong doing that. So, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Another couple of years, they'll be boycotting again.
exactly. And Netflix will be plummeting for what, 30 billion?
Right. They'll be like, oh, this will hurt for about a month, and then the Christians will sign back up.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I mean, I wish y'all, and it's orchestrated. When you got these, liberal overlords who make sure that my content get out there, and you've got a lot of, you got Big Con and Conservative Inc. That they've got their brand of conservatism that they want to put out there, and which is not, I don't think it's really solid conservatism as it is. They're more like they're just people who think different than liberals, kind of. right? Which doesn't make you a conservative just because you think differently than a liberal, or your attitude or your worldview is different from a liberal. But understanding the power of imaginative messaging, creativity. Obviously, it's very powerful because it's powerful enough to keep people who call themselves Christians and conservatives on Netflix. They want to be entertained, right? They want that. Does our side really provide that? No. Not really. So, and I'm trying to tell you, dude, that kind of stuff needs to be supported. And those who do try to provide some sort of entertainment, they provide entertainment that pretty much a liberal would do.
Absolutely.
They themselves want to entertain like a bunch of heathens. You know, the so-called conservatives. You know, they get a budget to make some entertainment, and it's like, dude, a freaking liberal could have done that. You know? There's a whole, you got a lot of shows out there that are made by liberals, and you could, but at the same time, they'll be like, dude, do you guys hear yourself? Because sometimes the message is kind of conservative.
Yeah.
It's like, do you hear yourself?
Right.
Like a broken clock is right twice a day, but the liberalism still comes out, right? And it's the same thing with, you know, like conservatives, like trying to do some entertainment stuff. It's like, you know, a liberal could have wrote that, you know? And the matter of fact, they write stuff like this all the time. So, but the thing is, they win people's heart with their entertainment, and then they go on these, you know, talk shows and news shows and whichever, and they get out there and they espouse their liberal stuff, and people are like, you know, they fall for their philosophies because they're able to create such stuff that they're interested in, and that their worldview must be something to subscribe to also, and they adopt their worldview. You know, they resonate with them. So, you know, I'm trying to tell folks, man, we need to make that kind of compelling, you know, compelling in entertainment and compete in there. You know, but I've been saying that for years, but is there really a big support for it? I know, and I'm not just talking about support, but you just really don't see it. You would think that there would be more. There isn't, because there's not a lot of support for it. You know, you can even talk. I've even talked to producers, you know, in Hollywood who are conservative, and they're like, no, dude, the return on investment just isn't there. Yeah. There's really not a market for it, you know. And it's not. And at the same time, actually, yeah, there is. But the thing is, a lot of the conservative demographic, they don't want to support it until they see it. They want the proof of concept, right? You already have to be doing it. Yeah. And then they'll come around and support it. That's most of the conservatives, right? To get a machine like that off the ground, y'all, it takes a lot of resources. You're gonna try to pull off, whether it's an anthology or some sort of series or things like that. It could be a movie or it could be a series of teleplays. The resources needed to get that done, it's a lot. All right, it takes a lot of money, lots of it. And the mainstream Republican voter they're not interested in doing that. They have the money to support political candidates because they think that that's the solution. We just need to get a good politician in there, even though they say government is the problem and not the answer. You know, but hey, when we get our government guy, and everything's gonna be fixed. But they got money for that. When it comes to like really supporting and getting, you know, a grassroots effort off the ground to get an entertainment platform going, nah, not really. Yeah. You know, they prefer just like give me the politics, you know, the talking heads and things like this. Yeah, maybe that work for you, but if you're trying to reach the culture, you know, instead of just constantly being at war with the culture, instead of showing them where the real party is, you know, no. I've been saying this for years, and they keep doing the same thing, and America is just cracking up, man. Yeah. It's just cracking up. So, but the power of entertainment, y'all. This is so powerful that it'll keep these people on there who claim to be standards and values and Christians and conservatives. Most of Netflix's audience is these people. Yep. Yeah. All right, so speaking of bad entertainment, Bad Bunny.
Nice transition.
Yeah, trans. Oh, that's the. That would be like a double entendre or something like transitioning. Yeah. So Bad Bunny, learn Spanish if you want to understand my. Look, how about, well, you could just learn English. It's like, this is how selfish these people are.
Yeah.
This is how selfish y'all are. You want to call us arrogant. You know, we have a common language here. That's English. And you want to come here and force people to accommodate you and speak your language. And you want to call us arrogant. Right? It's like, look, instead of telling millions of people who are going to be watching the show that they have to learn Spanish, why don't you, single person, why don't you just go ahead and do it in English? I think you can speak English. It'd be easier for you to just go ahead and speak it and do your show in English than telling everybody else that they need to learn Spanish. See, that's how delusional, that's how narcissistic these people are.
Yeah.
You are that full of yourself. And with the whether it's the transgender people, it's like, you know, instead of trying to convince the masses that you are something that you're actually not, and forcing everybody to have to capitulate to you, you, single person, can, well, I guess you don't think of yourself as a single person, you're a they.
Right.
But see, that's another thing that you need to figure out. You are just one person. And you, one person, can go ahead and need to understand and remind yourself that you are born as this, and that's what you are, is try to convince the masses that you're something else and force us to have to accommodate your fantasy. That's how selfish you people are. Right? So in this right here, Bad Bunny, that just gives you an idea, you know, of how just, you want to talk about the makings of fascism. Now, that's what this is. You want us all to just, you know, go along with your fantasy. And, you know, once again, in terms of go woke and go broke, y'all, that saying is tired. We still dealing with this. They've been saying go woke, go broke for years.
Oh, yeah.
And this stuff is still gonna, keep telling y'all, it ain't gonna stop, man, because it ain't about the money.
Yep.
It ain't all about the money. Yeah, money is part of it. It ain't all about the money. Oh, this is a religion, dude. I'm trying to tell you. Okay? And they're willing to make sacrifices from money to blood to push this narrative, to push us away from God. That's what it's all about. All right? And so with you know, this, the NFL, it's like, dude, we still doing this? Really? You know, and I guess, you know, y'all already heard, y'all already know the other stupidity. You know, Bad Bunny worried about, you know, ICE agents ready to deport him and stuff like this. Like, dude, you're Puerto Rican, man. It's U.S. territory. You know,
Yeah, then he doubled down and said, well, my fans, I'm worried that my fans will be deported. And ICE was like, yo, we're always at the Super Bowl. We've been there every year. It's just, this is the first year it's been a problem.
Yeah, it just happens to be the year that you're here.
Yep.
You know? And yeah, we be here, Home Depot. Yeah, we be, you know, we around, man. You know, so whatever. But you know, this the NFL. You know, the national F word for sodomite league. Is that what we are?
Right.
Y'all still doing this? Do they learn?
They don't. I mean, Rush was going after them, Rush Limbaugh, not the previous band that we were talking about, 20 years ago, talking about how freaking liberal they are.
Right? It's a halftime. It's supposed to be family show.
Right,
Y'all gonna have, it's like y'all gonna have Justin Timberlake and then Janet Jackson. Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, wow, man. What are y'all using the football game for to press this stuff? And so, has it gotten any better? No, it's getting worse. So go woke, go broke. Yeah, and if you're talking about go broke in terms of a broken country, a broken spirit, you know, yeah, there's broken a lot of ways. I don't think them going broke monetarily is their bigger concern.
Right.
Yeah, you don't understand. When you say go woke, go broke, y'all, that is what they're going for. They're going for broke. They're going for, you understand the term go for broke, right? That is what they're going for. If you say go woke, go broke, then you're just freaking cheering them on. You're cheering them on. You're not discouraging them, y'all. Their purpose is to break the country. They want to break the economy. They want to break the social constructs.
Yep.
They want to break the traditions. They want to break, the exceptionalism of America. Y'all, them going for broke is their objective. So when you say go broke, go woke, go break, you're just telling them to go for it, man. Because that's what they're doing. So, what else we got here? Bad
I
Bunny.
wanted to say this. Cranky Corner said maybe we can just replace these people. Like, they already have Hollywood in an uproar with Tilly Norwood. Replace them all. Tilly Norwood is an AI actress. Would the AI actresses be woke and liberal too, though?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that stuff is being programmed by these folks. But I mean, people are getting their own, apps or software to be able to make this stuff. And I feel you. It's like even supposedly, like in Texas, there's going to be like another entertainment,
movie industry.
Yeah, and y'all, it's just going to go down the same road. I heard that it's Elon Musk and Mel Gibson and I think another person. They're gonna team up and they're gonna start an entertainment company. That's gonna be a family-friendly entertainment company. I'm like, Elon, don't you have like 14 kids with like 14 different women? It's like,
closer
dude,
to 30
wow.
kids.
Come on, man. And this is what's gonna, this is, the party of standards and values. But.
Who's that guy that acts? He's Cousin Eddie on Christmas Vacation.
Oh, Randy Quaid.
So Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, he's going to team up with, remember, a couple of people. He's been here in Texas, trying to woo Governor Abbott into having a movie industry here, like with tax credits and tax breaks and all the good stuff.
Yeah, it's like I mean. The bottom line is I hope these people receive the Lord's peace and truth, and if they can do that, then Godspeed, man, do it. Let's do it. I'm trying to do it. I've got, very, and please don't take this as me not valuing the little support that we have. And I'm sorry to call it little. It's just, it is what it is.
It's cherished, but it's little.
It's cherished. It means a lot to us. But like, say for example, y'all, how I've been talking about getting the Zo Loft and the Zopium Den up and running, to y'all. I was talking about this a year ago. I finally got the funding to get some camera equipment, some lights, materials to build the Zopium Den set. And I've exhausted that funds in getting it built. I also need to get the Zo Loft set done. I haven't even been able to do it because there hasn't been the funding. But the support, as valued as it is, it's small, And to get, but the good news is I finally started buying the materials to get my set done to do the Zo Loft. God willing, I will start recording the monologues at least pretty soon. I have to do a cast. I got to figure out how I'm going to do a cast. I may have to resort to AI to have a cast, right? I may have to. I may have to create some AI characters.
Yeah.
Because casting costs money. Yeah, and not only and for what we're doing,
time.
It costs money, it costs time, scheduling and things like that. And not only that, you got to find the people who are willing.
Yeah.
It's like, we're talking about, their careers, do a lot of people out there, they don't want to come out of the closet as an entertainment who's a conservative, unless they've already got some serious clout.
Yeah. Unless they're 60 years old and they've been in the industry for 40 years.
Yeah.
Then they'll come out and they're celebrated as being brave.
Yes, right. So, I mean, for me, it may be or I might have to resort to puppets or cartoons or something like that, to cast my show, because I don't really have anybody that I could really do it with.
We got Tankless Pro in the chat. He says, "Love you, Zo. You are the OG. Keep it up."
Hey, blessings, man. Thank you. Much appreciated encouragement. So, we want to be able to, provide the entertainment. And, with the Super Bowl, it just goes to show, man, you got to provide something else. And that's the thing about it. Y'all, this stuff keeps coming because has there been something interesting to draw people's attention away from it? Not really. Okay? We can't just tell them to stop doing it. You need to stop that. Stop doing that. That ain't gonna work. Okay? You can't tell them go woke and go broke. You can't do that. What you can do, though, is offer them something else. Something that will compete for their interest. Okay? Like, as I've said 1,000 times, it's like eating healthy. You can't tell a person, hey, you need to put that donut down. I dare you, I'll fight you if you try to take away this donut. You better have something else that's just as good.
Yeah.
If you want me to eat healthy and you want me to drop this donut, you better have something really good that could be like, okay. I might not miss the donut as if this is gonna have like less carbs and all that sort of stuff. Okay, it better be good, right? You can't, like I said, you can't just tell a person, put that in there, you can't eat that. You got to have an alternative, a viable alternative.
Yep.
Of something healthy.
Yeah.
So, and now in terms of like a sport, in terms of a sports league and stuff like that, I don't know how we're going to do that. I'm not a big sports fan as it is, so I don't know how that's going to work. But you guys get the point. Anyway, what else we got here? FDA. Oh, hold on. How do we get this here? FDA approves another abortion bill. Mm-hmm. Another one. How are we doing that? How are we doing another abortion pill?
Good question.
I guess Trump, people be like, Trump is the most pro-life president that we've ever had. I be hearing that. I'm not so sure about that.
I mean, he probably is, because our presidents have been like pro-choice. So in comparison to pro-choice presidents, he probably is the most pro-life.
Now,
because the standard is so low.
What I mean is, I don't know how effective, in terms of it's counterproductive, his approach to it. He's been the most vocal about it.
Yeah.
Right? He's taken the most, and there's a reason why he's taken so much controversy concerning it. Don't let me forget that I said that. There's a reason why he's taking so much controversy concerning it. One, Melania Trump. Am I saying her name right? Melania, right? She's pro-abortion. Okay?
Very.
She's pro-abortion. So I reckon if we're talking about a president who's going to have like this much, sway over the issue, like, man, he doesn't even have that much sway over his wife as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And maybe he has to like do some things like this to make her happy. I don't know. Keep like some kind of a abortion legal. So, he's representing his wife as well as representing his country. But which I think is really sad, y'all, because you got MAGA out there who just thinks she's a goddess. And heck, she might as well be, because a lot of child sacrifice are made to goddesses.
Yeah.
But she's just like the most elegant and best, perfect, wonderful first lady we've ever had. And she's all pro-abortion and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, it's just like I said with, when we were doing the Roe v. Wade thing. I said back then, man, this is not the right approach. See, Trump's, in terms of him addressing the abortion issue and pro-life issue, it was already on wrong footing, because he's saying that this kind of thing is supposed to be decided in the states. Wrong. That's the wrong answer. And for some reason, a lot of, pretty much all of mainstream Republicans, they think it's a states' right issue, which is dumb. It's not a states' rights issue. I'll tell you why. Okay, no state can vote away or adjudicate against somebody's God-given rights. There's a supreme law of the land. You can't go into have a state that says, well, in our state, we're going to go to court and we can go ahead and vote away your right to live. You can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So when you got these people out there saying it's a states' right issue and it should be decided in the states, you can't decide, you can't vote against, and you can't adjudicate against somebody's right to live or against their right to be free or against their pursuit of happiness or against their property. You understand? So Trump was already on wrong footing when he said that. It's not a states' rights issue. So now we got sanctuary states where people are having abortions. Mm-hmm. And you can mail to different states.
Yes.
Abortion pills.
Texas is suing New York doctors because abortion is illegal, 100% illegal here. And their doctors are mailing mifepristone, and now they're going to be mailing this new drug. Well, it's the same drug, but it's just a generic version. They'll be mailing that to Texas.
So now, under this administration, how we going to, and even in Texas, you got sanctuary cities.
Absolutely.
For abortion.
Yeah.
People are
Austin.
They're performing abortions here.
Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole overturning Roe v. Wade didn't mean anything. No. Because it was under this idea that it's a states' rights issue. It's not a states' rights issue. Okay. So this is just, it's like the Netflix thing. It's like, how y'all still having Boycott? There shouldn't be these people to leave. How y'all still there?
Right.
And it's saying that approves another abortion pill. How do we still have the one that they'll have?
Right.
So.
And this is Trump's FDA. I'm very mad about this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it doesn't look good. And it's the sad part of it is that, when you have a lot of people out there who just won't call it out.
Yeah.
It's like we're wrong. We're not supposed to call this stuff out. We're wrong and we're traitors and we're not true MAGA and whatever. It's like, okay, whatever, I'm not. So anyway, that's disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
And we got that Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall was a nasty old woman. I'll bet she was. She was probably.
Did you get everything you wanted to say out? You said to remind you of he's taken controversy over.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of like him being the most, vocal about it. And the reason why he's been the most vocal about it is when you have people who are constantly bringing it up in his face. See, this is one of the reasons. This is another reason why Republicans have done so badly on the abortion issue, is because Republicans have acted like we just need to stay away from the issue. So because it's more, politically expedient.
Oh, how I've heard that.
Yeah, just we don't need to talk about abortion and whatever. And it's like, okay, look.
Those are losing issues.
Losing issues. Yeah, they are for you, you loser, because you don't want to be sharp about it.
Yeah.
Are you lazy? Is really what it comes. This is the thing about it. This is what a lot of these Republicans don't understand. You don't have to bring up abortion. You can guarantee that the Democrats are going to bring it up. Okay? You can go ahead and try to stay as far away from it as you want to and try to be closed-mouthed and not bring it up. The Democrats will bring it up for you.
Yep. Count on it.
Okay? They're the ones who are going to bring it up, and you got nothing to say because you don't stay sharp about it because you just want to be quiet about it. And you're just a dull freaking spoon when it comes to defending the issue.
You're
all right?
useless.
So Trump is going to get asked about it a lot. He's going to have to bear the weight. So yeah, in that sense, because he's had to talk the most about it, he may seem like he's the most pro-life
Yeah, I see
president.
what you're saying, yeah.
Okay? Because he's had to address it so much because Democrats are always bringing it up and you hardly have any Republicans out there speaking up for it. Because they're the ones who are saying, we just need to be quiet about it.
Yep.
There. So there would be your appearance of why Trump seems like he's the most outspoken and vocal about pro-abortion. I mean, about, well, the issue of abortion
Yeah.
or reproductive rights or pro-life or whichever. So, Jane Goodall, you know, I wonder if she was doing something freaky with them chimpanzees. Allegedly, I don't know. Yeah. Too much affection, affinity. Too much disdain for humanity.
I'll give you that.
Too much disdain for humanity and affection for a primate. Anyway, so never mind. I was probably
Don't.
gonna ask a really stupid question, but Monzo, you're always asking stupid questions. Anyway, let's read some of this right here. Jane Goodall, nasty old woman.
That's the title.
And the article says, sorry folks, I know the blood isn't quite cold yet. And on this one, but I am tired of all the hero worship and praise being thrown at Jane Goodall. Now, if you ask me, she just looked like a nasty, angry, bitter old woman. Proof. Just watch this. And you listen to the video. And yeah, she sounds just like some other Democrat that I mean, she's typical, liberal.
Yep.
You know, really all she needs is a freaking hood and a sheet. She's a Democrat spelled with 3 Ks.
Yeah.
Who Democrats were made? I mean, the KKK was made out of Democrats' murderous hatred for Republicans. That's why the KKK was made. They were established to terrorize Republicans who got in the way of what Democrats felt entitled to. All right. So she would be a good fit for the ladies of the Invisible Empire.
Absolutely.
All right. The ladies of the Invisible Empire was basically the wives. They were the wives of the Klansmen, all right, of the KKK. They were their
Lovely.
wives. So she'd be a good fit, considering this murderous attitude, this hateful perspective that she has against, I guess people of our persuasion.
Yes.
But loves monkeys. Anyway, so and
I mean, to be fair, she was the big push behind there was a lot more testing done, like medical testing and procedures done on chimpanzees. Our cousins.
Yeah.
There was a lot of gruesome medical testing done over the years, and she put laws into place because she brought awareness to that and how it was like torturing these little primates. My mom, she had friends that actually were researching pharmaceutical medications back in the 80s, and she was like, well, yeah, we kind of need to test it on chimpanzees because they're a lot like us, and I kind of think we don't, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about testing medical procedures and drugs on chimpanzees. I don't know if it's ethical or not ethical.
So people like Jane Goodall thinks that chimpanzees are our cousins.
Correct. I mean, she kind of picked up where her own
Probably for
her
her,
own
it's
words.
like kissing cousins. Anyway.
Yeah, her own words. She kind of picked up after Darwin.
Yeah,
where he left off and trying to figure out how closely related we are. And she's the one who discovered that chimpanzees not only use tools, they fashion tools. So of course that makes these people, these godless people, she does believe in theological evolution, but still I call these people pagans because they don't believe in the one true God. That makes them think that, that they're definitely related to us, distantly related to us.
Okay. The thing about animals, creating tools and whatnot, y'all, that's not ingenuity. That's still going to come down to instinct. There's going to be a limit to what they can fashion. And like I said, a lot of that is because of the instinct. Like, say, for instance, a beaver building a dam. A beaver can't really contemplate the logistics of a dam and improve upon it or make like some other, like more elaborate structure. Its instinct knows, it's a pre-program where it knows what materials to get and how to put it together to create a dam. Or a monkey that, can take like a piece of straw and put it in an anthill and pull out, and have like an ant lollipop or something like that. There's, it's more of an instinct of what they know how to put together around them. A bird building a nest, or wasp knowing how to, take mud and putting this stuff together. Okay, that's not necessarily, remarkable ingenuity. It's cool to witness in nature, but it's still more of an instinct than it is ingenuity. And, her being an evolutionist, or even a theological evolutionist, and at least coming to the understanding that there's a designer, it's still trying to mingle man's idea with God. And it's like a thought of saying that God cannot have done what he's done. We have to dictate what God is able to do. We do not believe that God can make a man from the dust of the earth. We do not believe, that God can do these things. Man would have to evolve. Right? But see, this is where they contradict themselves. You see the engineering in all of this. You see that somebody had to design, an intelligence had to design this. But and you come to the conclusion that there is an intelligence, a force that is intelligent enough and powerful enough to engineer the universe. But you don't think that this intelligence is intelligent and powerful enough to pull a man from the dust of the earth.
Right.
And animate him. You don't believe that. That doesn't make any sense. So you make up a kind of a God that can fit into what you think is natural. But once again, you defeat your own argument because you don't seem to understand that God is not a natural being. He's supernatural. If he can design what goes on in nature, that means that he had to be here before nature. He's beyond nature. He's outside of nature. He pre-existed nature. He's supernatural. All right? Nature is a tool of his. So this theological evolution, it don't even make any sense. Why would God need to make something in his image that would have to evolve? If it's going to be in his image, well, I guess that would mean that God must have had to evolve too. If that's the case, then God has not always been all-knowing. What was God before he was God? Was God a flipping tadpole? Was God a single-cell organism or something like that? You mean to tell me this single-cell organism was able to conceive of the universe at some point and then construct it? That didn't make any sense. So, but people like this have long-standing influence over people who think that God is some sort of fairy tale, but this person is giving you some fairy tale nonsense. Now, but anyway, in terms of like, animal testing, it's an uncomfortable thing, y'all. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair to subject animals to things that we have to see if they can tolerate before it's given to human beings. I get that. But at the same time, when you have these same people who think that, these chimpanzees and monkeys are so closely related to humans and you think that we come from them, well, then what's the difference? What's the difference? Shouldn't matter to you. Hey, they're just an earlier version of us. I mean, I don't know. Nobody is still able to explain how it is that we evolved from them, but they're still here.
Yes.
But if you want to go with the fantasy that they are our relatives, well, then you should have, heck, you want animals, to have the, I don't know, you want us to see them like we see them ourselves or whichever. Okay, well, then don't consider it animal testing. You're just testing it on another human.
Right.
Why not?
I mean, there was this one particular scientist, I don't remember his name, but I remember reading about it, one of Hitler's goons who was experimenting with pregnant women and chimpanzees and putting things in the chimpanzees that shouldn't be in there and things from the chimpanzees and the human women that shouldn't be there. You guys get the picture. And yeah. Because when you believe in this stuff, that's where your mind is going to take you.
For real. Yeah. And once again, y'all, it doesn't seem, I know it doesn't seem fair because you're going to subject them. They don't get a choice. You're going to be brought in and, and they're going to, but that's why they do have there are, what do they call, studies? You want to try out this new drug?
Yeah, you can volunteer for drug studies. I used to do it all the time. I used to think it was a good thing before I knew better.
But these people who consider themselves activists, it's like, okay, if you don't want them testing on animals, you go in there and test it.
Step right up.
Yeah, they give money for that stuff. You want to be part of a study? Go ahead and do it.
Yep.
Save the animals. By all means. If a person has more, I guess it really comes down to what you have more value for. It sucks, y'all. It's these things can be very traumatizing, painful, for animals. But if people, now also consider this, y'all. When you have people out there who are demanding health care, you have these people out there demanding health care, feel like it's an entitlement and all that sort of stuff, and they want all these pharmaceuticals and whatnot. It's like, okay, you have this premium on health care. Well, if you're going to want all these medications and stuff like that, well, those things do need to be tested.
Yep.
And
unless if it's the COVID vax.
Yeah. Word. Reminds me of that one meme. It had two rats in a cage, and one of the rats like, hey, have you got your COVID shot yet? And the other rat's like, no, I'm waiting until they finish their experiments on humans with it.
That's just one of the best memes of all time.
Right? So yeah, when you got these people who just want us to be all farmed out, these things do need to be tested. And if you want them tested on human beings, then you're really going to have a healthcare problem because you don't know what these things are going to do to people.
Right.
Because they haven't been tested. You're going to test them on people, then they're going to have problems, and then they're really going to need medications or really need therapy and whatnot. Yeah. And you get a feedback loop.
Exactly.
Downward spiral. Man. So anyway, Jane Goodall, there's things to appreciate about the work that she's done and awareness that she's done.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she was spiritually corrupt.
Yeah, at the end of the day, her last words were, I want Trump and his supporters and Elon Musk to be sent out into outer space, and I want them to be sent to that planet that he's looking for. And remember, we're like, he's not looking for a planet, lady.
He knows where he wants to go.
Exactly.
But that's her dark heart.
Yeah, very sad.
But she's seen as like some sort of saint because she likes monkeys.
Yeah, because she's an animal-loving vegetarian.
Yeah, so that makes her like some sort of saint. But she had a lot of hatred in her heart.
Yeah.
And but a lot of people will feel like that. Her hatred was justified. She, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all his supporters, they're worth hating. They should be hated. They're evil. In her mind, she thinks she's GOODALL. She thinks she's good. And that's the thing. That's the thing about these liberals, y'all. That's a distinction that folks need to understand about Democrats and liberals. They want you to see how loving they are by how much they hate somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's a weird dynamic,
Yep.
but that is who they are.
You're going to prove that true again with another story we've got coming up. Come to think of it. It's true.
That is who they are. That's love. That's love winning for them by them showing you how much they hate somebody.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. What else we got?
While you're looking for the next one, Jay said, my people are confused, stupid. They confuse adaptation with evolution and relation with similarity. That is the basis for how I started to understand that evolution is not true. Because there were some good preachers and good books that explained to me and helped me understand that it's adaptation. It doesn't change from one species to another,
Yes.
like Darwin said, theorized. It's still a theory. It hasn't been proven out.
Yeah.
It's adaptation, like Jay says.
Yes. Thank you, Jay. That's right. Yeah. That is a difference that you would think, as woke and enlightened they
Right?
are, that they would pick up on. It's like, no, the
Yeah.
species didn't change. All right. Now we got Pope defends award for abortion senator says those who favor inhumane treatment of immigrants or the death penalty are not pro-life either. So you're not,
Go.
if a person murders somebody and you hold them accountable for that, to keep them from murdering other people, that makes you not pro-life? No, the person who murdered is not pro-life. And to make sure that they don't do it again, yeah, that still squares up with being pro-life. Now, he says something. It goes to show that the Pope is pretty biblically illiterate.
Yes.
He doesn't. It's like, dude, you don't really read the scriptures, do you? I mean, look, man.
Clearly.
Doing some acing with your catechism, clip notes and stuff like that. That ain't the same thing as reading the Word and being in counsel with the Holy Spirit. You ain't. And the dude is just sitting there. The dude's just going off, saying nothing biblical.
Right.
But I guess he's got that loophole. What's that? That ex-cathedra loophole?
And talking about church teachings. It's like, what about what the Bible says?
Yeah. It's like, hey, you listen, Pope. You just pulling this stuff out of your loophole, okay? None of that stuff squares. And it's
Can
like,
you make that into a shirt?
you pull that out of your, okay. So we got another Pope who's basically, hey, look, and to each their own. And Catholics maybe think that I'm picking on them and stuff like that. I don't like any religion.
Yep.
All right? I don't follow religion. I follow Jesus, right? Jesus alone and his word, which is the textual representative of himself. So that's it. But after Pope Francis, you would think that these people learn after Pope Francis. This is supposed to be your vicars, man.
It's the vicar of Christ.
Vicar of Christ. And none of this stuff don't square. That's a big flaw. If your religion shows that kind of flaw, you might not want to follow it.
Right.
You just follow Jesus alone. What fault do you find with Jesus? What fault do you find with what he has said? There isn't. I have full confidence in Jesus. That's why I follow him. This ain't like this other religion. Any other religion, people be like, yeah, I believe this, but I don't believe, I don't know about this or anything. No, I believe in his word from the first letter to the last. I've read it and I'm like, what you say, you are the truth. I got no reservations about what you be talking about.
Yep.
All right? When you got this person, this so-called Pope, coming there saying this stuff that don't square up with Scripture, and y'all still gonna stick to this religion, that doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
That's just being caught up with tradition, sentiments, pride. That's all that is. It ain't biblical though. So he gonna defend this award for who says inhuman treatment of immigrants. What's the inhuman treatment of immigrants? Telling them that they can't come here illegally? That's really about what it comes down to. No.
They
Oh,
can't have free health care and free hotels.
why can't you have that in your country? As I've said before, y'all, forgive me if I'm bringing this up again. Perhaps you guys are sick of it too. Aren't y'all sick of other people from other nations charging us with not giving them what their country doesn't give them?
Yeah.
Why are you accusing us of something that we're not giving you? Your country's not giving that to you. How is it that y'all have enough freaking energy to come here and force us to accommodate you, but you can't put your boots to the ground to do that in your own country? How do y'all have enough energy to do that and come here and make us accommodate you? Put them numbers together in your country. But wait a minute, I thought, but you know, the liberals in America, they be acting like, well, you know, in these other countries, they have universal health care and they get the best care and all that sort of stuff. It's like, okay, well, if they have that there, why don't they stay there?
Yeah.
They got free health care, they got free education, they got this and they got that. Why don't they stay there? Right? But they want to come here and accuse us of not giving what they can't seem to get in their own country. As far as, I don't know what's true about it or not.
Right.
Can they or can't they? And why are we responsible for that? Why are we responsible for accommodating, with facilitating that with here? I don't mind. Hey, immigration makes America beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. Just do it legally.
Yeah, that's all we're asking.
That's all we're asking, man. Do it legally. Because, you know, because here's what's going to happen. You need to understand, what people come here illegally and they're given uncomfortable accommodations. What they're in a big, you know, warehouse and may have to just be sleeping on some cots, you know, whichever, or what, you're gonna find some of them in cages. You know, well, when you have a bunch of people like coming over, and you know, it kind of gets a little tight for how you can accommodate them, you know, so you can kind of, you know, get them on record on who they are and things like that. You know, heck, you know, sometimes, you know, kids, you know, they wander off. You don't know, and you know, and you may not be able to mind them as much as you want. Heck, you might have to lock them up.
Yep.
I don't mean that sound mean, but you know what? It's better than that kid wandering off and getting picked up by a cartel or a trafficker.
Yes.
Heck, it might not, them cages, they might not be to keep the kids in them. They might be to keep perverts out of them. It could be that. And that's not just me making up some crack theory. That's what the Berlin Wall was kind of for.
Yeah.
People think that the Berlin Wall was to keep the enemy out. No, the Berlin Wall was to keep people in so they couldn't escape. It's kind of like a vice versa. Right? So with these cages and stuff like that, no, we're going to put these kids in a cage so you perverts can't get to them.
Yeah.
All right? Them kids, you find that kid ripped apart in the desert. You know what I'm saying? So that's inhumane.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, sometimes cages aren't what people, or walls ain't what people think that they're for. It might be the exact opposite. So, but inhumane treatment, human treatment, or death penalty. And also, like I said, the Pope is not well read with the scriptures. The Lord is not at all for illegal immigration. And the Pope doesn't seem to understand that. Just like the Pope before him, they talk about, you know, Christianity is not about building walls. Yes, it is. You know, and as many of y'all have already, you know, pointed out, you know, we all know that, dude, doesn't the Vatican have a wall around it?
Yes, it does.
You know?
Quite fortified.
Come on now. If you look through the scriptures, yeah, borders, God will tell you himself, you cross my border, I'm going to have you killed. You're welcome to come in. Hey, he'll tell the Israelites flat out, welcome the foreigner. Welcome them. Love them as the native born. You're welcome to be a part of our nation, absolutely. But there's rules. You're going to come in here, we need to know who you are. All right? You want full citizenship, you're going to have to go through the full protocol. You're going to have to assimilate to the Constitution of this nation. And God is that Constitution. Now, you can't be coming in here having other gods and all that sort of stuff. You know? If you want to do that, you certainly better not be making sacrifices to them.
Yeah.
All right. So to say that the scriptures is just all about, just, to not recognize borders and just come on in any old way that you want to, that's not biblical at all.
No.
Jesus himself, right, who's always been God throughout the scriptures. Jesus is the very one, even at the tabernacle. If you cross my borders around the tabernacle, I'll have you killed. That's still Jesus. All right? Jesus says, recognize my borders. Cross them, you cross them, I kill you. Jesus says, if you come into my sheep, you come into the sheep pen, aside from this gate, I'm going to call you a criminal. I'm going to call you a thief and a liar, a robber. Right? That's what Jesus says. So when these, popes be talking about, the Bible is all about open borders, lies, lies. Nah. And then talking about the death penalty. Now, y'all, here's my reservations about the death penalty. And y'all, it's not that I'm not pro death penalty,
Right.
but I do have a reservation about it. If we know that our government is corrupt, right? We don't like the government handling our taxes.
Right.
We don't. There's a lot of things that we don't like the government doing. And we don't like the way they handle things. Our judicial system is messed up. It's corrupt. A lot of corruption going on. That being said, y'all, it gives me pause when I think about the government carrying out an execution.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You feel me? If we're of the opinion that government is the problem and not the answer, and we see all this corruption that's going on in the government, I don't know. I'm kind of like one of those persons be like, man, maybe we should kind of pause on the death penalty for a minute. Because I'm sorry that I don't trust the government that much.
Yeah.
And, just to have that on the conscience that this person, who might not be guilty of these crimes, but they was just lazy or didn't do their due diligence, or whichever.
Yeah.
I don't care, and I don't care what side you're on. Doesn't matter, because I don't want to say all of them, but too many of them. It just ain't working it right, man. Got a lot of people out there just wanting to maintain their office, or they're just letting Democrats get away with too much stuff. And I mean, because as far as when we think about like the liberal lawyers and activist judges and whatnot,
Right.
there a lot of them are against the death penalty anyway.
Very true. Yes.
But part of the reason why that's because they want to make sure that they fortify that prison industrial complex.
Yeah.
Democrats are all about slave labor. The Democrats are the party that wanted to keep slavery legal. They found another way to do it. All right. They don't want the death penalty. They want people working in them prisons. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's why I think it's funny, like when, you got the Republicans out there saying there's no systemic racism. It's like, oh, really? But all is when you have, the liberal activist judges and the legions of liberal lawyers making sure that them prisons are stocked with black folks.
Yep.
You might want to rethink that whole "there's no systemic racism" thing. Because I guess the Democrats got nothing to be guilty of. So all that to say, y'all, with the death penalty, that for that reason, once again, I'm not against it. If a person, the word says life for life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you deprive a person of their life, that's, you forfeit yours. But, during the course of the due process, is there going to be some corruption in there?
Yeah, I've always been for the death penalty because biblically, we should be. However, considering our government, I have questions.
When you got a godless government,
Yeah.
we got a godly mandate, but a godless government.
Right. I would err on the side of caution with this.
It's almost like, for our conscience sake, it's almost like one of those things where it's worth it to, just go ahead and pay. Just pay to keep this person incarcerated for life. You'll be behind bars. It'll just take your lifetime. You know, not going to take
Right.
your life, just take your lifetime, just for conscience. I guess if it's I don't know. So I know there's some cases where it's just proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you're just
Well, yeah.
you're guilty all day.
There are those cases.
There's those cases, but I guess if there's some where it's like the person's like, dude, I didn't do it. I really am innocent, and it just comes up that this like, well, you're not going to admit your guilt, so we're just going to put you to death.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. What do you guys think?
And hearing about the corruption that both Kamala and Hillary committed,
Right?
within the legal system, it makes me sick to think about, yeah, there are very bad things that could happen.
Yeah. Kamala was notorious for.
Yes.
Anyway. So Virginia AG candidate Jay Jones, text shows him fantasizing about killing Republicans, wishing death on their kids. And these are the people who accuse us of being fascists.
Right? Yeah.
Like, man, your thoughts are fascist all day.
Gonna murder us.
Yes. Let's read some of the article here. So Virginia's election for the top law enforcement agent
Speaking of which, this dude's a law enforcement agent. So, yeah, corruption.
Yeah, back to badge.
Yeah.
Y'all, I know it steps on some people's toes, man. I don't mean to. I don't have, the full-on positive attitude or, get behind the badge kind of thing. Actually, let me say this. This is another example of what I mean by you got to know how to play to a liberal's imagination. Okay, this is how this is where we have to communicate with them. It can't just be trying to think that you're going to beat them with your amazing conservative reasoning. They don't. Reasoning is not their wheelhouse. Okay, here's an example. With law enforcement, when you got liberals out there talking about defund the police, because in their imaginations, America would be a better place if the police weren't such a prevalent force. We need to defund them.
Yeah.
Well, instead of mainstream Republicans out there trying to reason with them of why we need the police, and whatever argument they're going to try to make, don't try to reason with them. Just play to their imaginations and agree with them. You're like, yeah, I agree. The police need to be defunded. I mean, the things would definitely be a lot better. Yeah. Connect with their imagination.
Yeah.
All right? And then from there, be like, I suggest that we start with the police unions.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to hit the police and you really want to hit them hard,
Yep.
right? I'm talking, if you Democrats, we're on board with you. Let's do this. It's going to be better. Your defund campaign is spot on. And we're going to kneecap the police better than you could ever hope for. And we're going to start with the police unions. Yeah. See, the Republicans ain't going to do that. And the police ain't going to get up off them unions. And the unions is like a major revenue collecting arm for the Democrat Party.
Absolutely.
See, as long as the police are collecting that revenue for Democrats through them unions, I ain't all about back the badge.
Yep.
Sorry. I can't take it seriously. And the right wing, they worship the police. Worship them. All right? While being government's the problem, not the answer. Who the crap do you think the police are? Still government.
Yep.
Now, y'all, I ain't saying that we don't need police. And I'm not saying I don't respect
Right.
police. I do. I respect the office. But y'all, even the police force ain't, the very force that is supposed to deter corruption and things and people transgressing against people, keeping the peace within our municipality, they got corruption in their ranks too. All right? But I respect the office.
Yeah.
I have initial respect for those who take the job. And then from what they do in abusing their authority or what's not, or misusing it, that's another thing. But we want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do the right thing. You know? But if you you're with them unions, well, sorry, you're kind of a puppet for the Democrat Party. So my trust ain't all there. All right. So, and this person is, an example of why.
Absolutely.
And so let's see. Confirmed real by all parties. Show real disgusting and vile truths about this lefty. And I mean, 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. So this is the kind of, stuff that this person likes to say.
Yeah, he also says, I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and they're breeding little fascists? Yes. And he talks about, they should be killed, the kids.
So this person, doesn't even realize that he's the evil party in the room.
Right?
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's this total dyslexia about good and evil, right and wrong. The Word of God talks about woe to those that don't know good from evil, light from dark, bitter from sweet. They don't know. This person is a pervert. He's totally twisted.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like this is a conversation that Hitler would have. You're having a conversation that it's like Hitler said, yeah, who would I shoot if I had 2 bullets? If I didn't have 2 bullets, I would shoot, this Hitler would get a kick out of this. All right, so Mussolini would get a kick out of this. You're the fascist, man.
Yeah.
You think that these kinds of, you want to set society in hostility against people and coerce them to vote for in representatives for your worldview. That's fascism, man. That's you. You want a society that's going to get over there and just figuratively and maybe even literally beat other people over the head with sticks. You want them to bundle together, right? If I can remind folks again, check out Bill Whittle's commentary on fascism. And you can see the dynamics of the analogy. The metaphor of it, in bringing this society together, basically bundling them together like sticks and beat people over the head. To get into to be willing, accommodating serfs to the state, thinking that hey, they're all gonna get their fair share, everything's gonna be fair, right? This person is on that trip. And talking about somebody's wife, somebody's kids. Man, this person and y'all, I don't need to call these people freaking fascist. Democrats, I mean their ideology, yeah, it's fascist, sure, but I don't need to call them fascists. I don't need to call them socialists. I don't need to call them communists. I just call them exactly what they are, Democrats.
Yep.
As if that ain't bad enough. I don't need to try to I don't need to try to make a Democrat sound worse than they are by trying to call them a communist. Oh, they're a bunch of communists. They're a bunch of fascists or whatever. They're radicals. They're not even close to being radicals. They're nothing. They're not radicals. And y'all already know that's a serious pet peeve of mine. They call them what they are. They're Democrats. That's bad enough. That's as bad as bad as it is. They don't even need to add anything else to it. They Democrats. Really want to stick it to them, call them a Democrat with 3 Ks. Because that's who they are. This person is terrorist minded, man.
Yeah.
He is what the KKK is made of. The KKK was made of people like the Democrats. When they made the KKK, it was made of people like this. Oh, is he law enforcement? Yeah, they had KKK in law enforcement too. This person is of the same mindset of Bull Connor.
Yeah.
He's the KKK that when they had police, like I said, they had police in the KKK. They was the same kind of people who was out there with that hostility with them hoses and releasing dogs on people.
Yeah.
Blowing up churches. That's this guy. He's the same. Right? But see, you Republicans, they don't, the Republicans in today's mainstream, they don't know nothing about that. They think that, I remember a time when Democrats were reasonable.
Oh.
Now, I remember when Democrats were level-headed and they were patriotic and all that. No, Democrats have always been crazy. They've always been nuts. Because you had an anomaly every once in a while like Kennedy or something like that?
Yeah, I've got, 70-year-olds, 70-something, a few of them at my work that they think the Democratic Party is, just this wonderful party of loving people.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they can think that after being 70-something years old.
Yeah. It's like
seeing so much.
Yeah, you were around when Jim Crow was around.
Right?
And who do you think authored that? It was Democrats. I mean, sure, okay, Kennedy. You got your Saint Kennedy, but who was his vice president?
Yeah.
See,
They must not know Johnson's character. That's
right?
all I can think of. I mean, I don't know.
So Democrats have been nuts. So and this person is just a continuation of it. But a lot of that's the thing about it. So you got a lot of mainstream Republicans out there for a long time. They keep talking about this new Democratic Party. What do you mean it's new Democratic?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. This new Democratic Party. There's just something. It's like, dude, they always been crazy.
Yeah.
There's nothing new about what they're doing.
I've been hearing they've got socialism in there now. It's like, wait, what?
For real? Y'all, this is the thing that these mainstream Republicans don't understand about this socialist Democrat. Y'all, because Democrats feel entitled to what they feel at the expense of somebody else. Y'all, that's not a new Democratic Party. They've had that mindset as far back as the Confederacy when they wanted slavery legal. They wanted to keep slavery legal. Why? Because they felt entitled to somebody else facilitating what they, at their expense. It's like, you go out there and you do this work and I want to reap the benefits of it. Socialism is rooted in the same thing. So there's nothing new. And like I said, calling them socialist and communist, Democrats just take that as a compliment, man. To this mainstream, which I know that you're not going to hear me. At least maybe not now. Maybe God willing, at some point you'll get it. Maybe I'll get through. You're not hurting. You are not hurting Democrats by calling them socialists. You're not hurting them. You're helping them. You're not hurting them by calling them communists. You're helping them. And when you call them radicals, not only are you not, actually, no, let me take that. When you call Democrats radicals, you're helping Democrats and hurting yourself. Yeah, and this so-called Republican Party, mainstream Republican Party, they're doing it more and more. More and more. Radical Democrats, radical. They say it more and more.
Oh yeah, I hear it. I listen to the news and it's so often. It's like a drinking game.
You're not hurting them. You're hurting yourself by doing that. And like I said, it's talking to a brick wall. I've been saying it for years, and the more and more they do it, the more damage is getting done. But they think that somehow we're making strides, we're making things better. No, you're not. Things are getting worse. But I guess people just want to believe what they want to believe. I don't want to believe that things are getting worse. I don't want to believe it.
Yeah, I don't either, but...
It's way businesses just keep still closing.
Yeah.
People, more discourse.
Oh, yeah.
More fights, more friends being lost, people getting alienated and all that sort of stuff. It's more and more. More violence. And it's not getting better. And a big part of the reason why is because Republicans, they suck on the language. Their language is self-defeating. They sabotage themselves with the language. And, when constantly calling, like I said, and they cost themselves and they just help Democrats at every turn.
Yep.
You're not going to win the culture. You think because you get these political victories and stuff like that's all you needed. It ain't. Calling Democrats communists helps them, right? Socialists, it helps them. But they're going to keep on doing it. Calling them radicals, not only does it help Democrats, it hurts you. It doesn't work. But like I said, they just keep calling. And as I've said, you keep saying the word radical, 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 like it's going to have an effect. And it does. It does have an effect. Not a positive one.
Yeah.
It's not an effect that helps you in any way. Not at all. So, with this right here, this person talking about this violence that they're doing. So,
Yeah.
so what? You know,
Yeah, and there's, as far as I could tell, there might be an update that I don't know about, but before we started the show, there was no Democrats calling for him to step down.
yeah. He's saying what's right, what needs to be said,
Yeah.
as far as they're concerned, because that's who Democrats are.
Yep.
And Republicans, you know, I don't know where the, Second Amendment is going to stop this. And the language, the thing that really needs to be loaded up on, rather than the guns. Don't get me wrong, I'm as pro Second Amendment as anybody, but this is the Democrats have set up a battle where you can't really use them. Mm-hmm. They're controlling the chessboard on this, where your guns are going to be useless. Their guns aren't though.
Yeah.
They can get out their guns and they can do what they want. Get out there and gloat about it, right? But they've set it up. But the war that they're playing, y'all, was a war that needed to be engaged in a long time ago. And mainstream Republicans are just late. They're way late, and not armed with what needs to be armed with to deal with it. And I know they don't like to hear that, because they got their chest puffed up full of pride and thinking. And this kind of stuff, these Democrats, they can get away with this. They can get away with this kind of stuff.
Yep.
All right, y'all. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and y'all, we're trying. We want to do our part. We want to do our part to swing back against this stuff. And the thing I want to leave y'all with is, you want this lunacy to stop. You got to stop trying to cast pearls before pigs.
Yeah.
They're annihilating us in doing that. Okay? And the word tells you, don't cast your pearls before pigs. They will annihilate you. So instead of trying to think that we're going to win over these people or win America, but with our amazing reasoning, intellect, and how informed we are, by listening to our favorite, right-wing pundits and all that sort of stuff. Y'all, you have to remember how the Democrats communicate, what they're given over to. They're given over to their imaginations. All right? Imagine that is where they communicate. All these things that they believe, they have to imagine these things. You got to connect with that.
Amen.
Play to that. And then and from there, that's where you're going to get into your verbal judo.
Yeah.
You got to use that against them. See what I'm saying? Like I said, whether I was just like talking about, or another example, when they want to bring out the whole race narrative. When they want to accuse of systemic racism and white supremacy and white privilege. Play to it. You know, play to their imaginations. Because the thing is, there's truth to it, but they're imagining where it's coming from.
Exactly, yes.
Systemic racism is a real thing. White privilege is a real thing. Tell me it's not. Biden's still loose, ain't he? Mm-hmm. Hillary Clinton's still loose.
Hillary.
You know? You know? Look at the Fauci's still look at the wholesale murder that they've done.
Yep.
White privilege is a real thing. You know? Systemic racism, all that sort of stuff. Play to it. Be like, yeah, I agree. You're totally right. You know, and now that you've played to their imagination, let's talk about where it's really coming from. See, Republicans don't do that. They just try to get out there and deny that there's any systemic racism.
Yep.
There's no such thing. Okay, well, I guess Democrats ain't guilty of nothing.
Yep.
Ain't do nothing. No, there's no systemic racism. There's no white privilege. There's no white supremacy. Okay. You have an opportunity to beat the Democrats over the head with their own biggest tool. Take that tool away from them and beat them over the head with them instead of them beating you over the head.
Yep.
But no, you want to pretend like it doesn't exist while they're beating your brains out with the race narrative. There's no systemic racism. There's no white privilege. They're just pounding you up in the head with it when they're the ones who are doing it.
Yep.
You want to pretend like it doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah. There's no systemic racism, but then you're all for school vouchers.
Yeah.
Because black kids get trapped in horrible schools. Well, that's called systemic racism.
Exactly.
Done by the white liberals.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Mostly white liberals.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're still going to be at the top of it.
Yep. Yes, they are.
You know? So, but you're going to have them out there pretending like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And which arises another problem. You got Democrats imagining where this racism is coming from. They're imagining that it's not them. It's definitely them. We're trying to imagine that it's someplace else. But here's the other problem. You got Republicans imagining that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess maybe Republicans are connecting their imaginations. Maybe they are communicating on an imaginary level, but they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're doing it wrong.
We have a question that is kind of a rabbit trail, but you'll appreciate it because it's a music question.
Ah.
It is submitted by Jay. A musical question. What are a good set of four-string bass strings? And Cranky says it depends on your playing style, tone preference, and type of bass you have.
I got nothing. After that, I mean,
Oh, Cranky is our expert this evening in this. In the bass four-string. The drums are your forte, so.
No, well, I mean, I play bass also. I mean, I'm more of a drummer than I am a bass player. That's for sure. But yeah, that's sound advice right there. Like those things would have to be taken into account. So recommending what kind of bass strings. It would be what kind of bass do you have? What kind of music are you playing? Because when I say bass, I mean, strings are they're adaptable for any bass. But when I say what kind of bass you have, because some basses may be the scale length. Some strings, you can't put the same kind of tension.
Oh.
It's not the same kind of tension, but some sort of same kind of gauge.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
Right,
Okay.
for a longer neck or a shorter neck.
Okay.
And some strings may be better. There's different kinds of brands that may be better for a longer scale or a shorter scale.
Is that when you were buying the Ernie Ball strings?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Right. I tend to like Ernie Ball, but I mean, seems like more of a simple question, and when it comes to of course, when it comes to music, hey, you want to kind of like embellish in the conversation, So it's not like trying to make the answer more complicated than it is. It's like kind of fun to like look at the variables. That's really what it comes down to. It just makes it's kind of fun. And sorry, what was this question again? Just to make sure I get in the.
What are a good set of 4-string bass strings? And then he did answer, this is another language to me, so I'll just read it. DeArmond Pilot Pro Bluegrass / Death Metal Fusion.
Woo!
That sounds amazing, actually.
That sounds interesting. I mean, you sound like you should have like you should probably get a cigar box. A cigar
Right?
box. Try that. A cigar box bass string. I think I have somebody I'm connected to on Instagram who makes a guitar box. He makes cigar box guitars, right? And they sound pretty cool.
Oh, neato.
And it's a cool concept.
Stainless steel.
So to do
Steel,
that,
nickel plated.
yeah, get the stainless steel or nickel plated. If you want to get that, that clangy, they're going to be a little on the brighter side, especially like when they're newer. You don't want to get. I don't think you're going to want flat wound. Flat's going to be too mellow, and that's kind of usually I think it's like better suited for like a fretless bass or anything. But I think your options will be like your round wound, stainless steel. You got stainless steel. You got your nickel. Either one of those is probably great for you. I think regular gauge. Because some, I think, what would that be? I mean, 105 to, I think maybe, would it be a 105 to a 35 would just be like a regular gauge. So if you can get a set of those, stainless steel or I think nickel plated, for what you're doing, I think that's pretty, and it's really pretty standard, really. It's a standard string set. I think whether it's Ernie Ball or boomers, bass boomers, would do fine for those. I think you can go in pretty much any music store close by, and you'll be able to grab those easy. And I think you'll be set. Yeah.
I think Cranky plays the bass. I think that's why she knows. Am I right?
You know what? I did.
Cranky?
That's cool. I'm sorry, Cranky. I didn't even know that.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
pretty sure she does.
Well, if that's the case, then if bass is her jam, I defer you to Cranky, and she can give you some tips. I hope Cranky if
she said yes, I do.
yes I do. All right, I hope I have given some sound suggestions. And like I said, right when she answered, I mean, I was like, yeah, that's that's some advice that I would take. I would take that advice.
And Jay says, I was kidding about the bluegrass / death metal. I'm wanting to get like Ross Valerie.
Was it Ross Valerie?
I'm wanting to get like Ross Valerie.
Oh, Cranky, who is that?
Yeah, Cranky, who is that? Wow.
All right.
She just says LOL. We'll have to Google Ross Valerie.
Ross Valerie, we're going to Google that one. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Oh, Basis for Journey.
Oh my goodness. Is Ross Valerie's bass for Journey? Is he original bass or is he a new? I think it seemed like they've gone through a couple of bass players.
It does. Come on, Jay. Original or new?
In the meantime, y'all, bronzeserpentmedia.com. And thank you guys, as ever, for tuning. You guys such a blessing us for tuning in. And
Second one.
the second bass player. Okay. It it really is, heck, I hardly know what to say to tell you how much I appreciate y'all tuning in to listen to my observations on these things. Like I said, I hope you didn't come here for the news because, you're crazy if you did. Just my
news.
we read the news and I just give my, my 2 cents on the dollar for them. Anyway, so, but we thank you for it. And bronzeserpentmedia.com if you're new and you just tuned in. Hey, if you want to become a member, it's free, won't cost you a dime, just a couple clicks of your time. And hope you populate the powwows there. And, grab a mug or something like that. Heck, get a shirt or whichever. It'll look good on you. And drop that buck in the bucket to keep your bro Zo on the go. Help us grow our, production company. Hopefully, And did I say that? Yeah. I was trying to say that. Yeah, hopefully, I've started building Zo Loft.
Yeah.
Keep us in your prayers, that we'll get. And I've been talking about it for a long time. God willing, we'll be getting it down to doing it.
Amen.
Start recording it and do our part to, compete in the culture.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a groovy rest of your evening. We'll do it again sometime. Bye.